Hello, in this video we're going to look at the lean approach to change. Sometimes it can feel like you're working flat out, pushing as hard as you can, but the system is just against you. You can try all the usual approaches to getting more work done. Sometimes though, you just have to stop and change the system. Now this might be a fairly obvious thing to say, but you've got two main ways of making a meaningful improvement. You can make one really big change, or lots of little changes. Making a big change can take a lot of time, resources, and it can be pretty daunting, but small changes for the better can feel that bit more achievable. And lots of small changes, one after the other, can have an effect that's just as big, if not bigger, than one massive change. Within Lean, making lots of small changes is called Kaizen, which roughly translates as continuous improvement. There's a little bit more to it than that though. The translation has got a real sense of discipline and commitment to continually changing for the better. In Lean, you've really got to mean it. It's very common nowadays to see people say, oh, we believe in continuous improvement, and look, we've even made a laminated sign and we've put it on the wall, that's how committed we are. But when you ask, well, what did you do last week to make your work any better or any more efficient? You get a completely blank response. Masaki Yamai describes Kaizen as improvement every day, by everybody, everywhere. And in the NHS, if we're honest, we don't improve continuously. We improve episodically, often in response to a report of something bad having happened. And I've certainly never worked in a team where it's part of the thinking every day. Incremental, smaller changes can often lead to bigger benefits than major systems change. And certainly if we ignore making those little changes, we ignore massive potential gains in the processes we work in every day. Kaizen is about very small changes, but even tiny changes can be time-saving. And here's a rather boring example from my own desk. Now DPT gave me a laptop, and every day I needed to plug in 3 different things: my printer, my scanner, and my mouse. And if I went away from the desk and took the laptop with me, I'd have to come back and do the same again. But the laptop was badly designed. The USB ports were very hard to see and they were scattered all around the machine. I used to get really annoyed because right next to the USB port was another slot you could put the cable into, but it didn't work. So, suitably annoyed by this one day, I took some of my wife's nail polish and put 3 dots on my laptop just above where the USB ports connect, so that I knew where to connect them without having to bend around looking at the back of the machine. And this helped a bit, and it made things a little bit less frustrating each day. But then I realised that the USB cables only go in one way up, so I'd only ever have a 50-50 chance of getting it in the right way round first time. So I added a little dot of nail polish to each of the connectors to make sure that I had them the right way around first time, and this helped a little bit more. And generally speaking, that process of improvement was going okay. A few weeks later, I realised that a USB hub, which is like a little thing that connects lots of cables together through one socket, would mean that I only needed to connect one USB port, which cut that time down further. Most importantly though, these were my changes. I'm sure I'd have reacted badly if DPT had told me that I needed to put nail polish on my laptop, but it was my change and it was something that made life better for me. Now looking at these tiny changes, the time saving could have been no more than 15 seconds per day. But 15 seconds per day times 250 working days is an hour a year, and those changes probably only took about 15 minutes to do. So that makes me 45 minutes up on the deal in the first year. But more importantly, I was a lot less frustrated and a lot less likely to hit my computer with a shovel. Now this is a small example of a Kaizen change, steady incremental improvement that slowly lifts you a little further up. Now that example was just 3 little changes on 3 separate days. But if I did that every single day that I was at work, and all of the people around me were doing the same, then the time savings would magnify. Kaizen doesn't come as unusual to us working clinically. It's something that we do every day with patients. I'm sure we can all think of patients where a major change would have been impossible, but you chip away bit by bit, small change by small change, helping to steer somebody in the right direction, and you get there in the end. Within Lean, there's recognition that from time to time you need to make very major changes, big changes, breakthrough changes that only really occur occasionally, and that's described as kaikaku. Broadly it translates as radical change. And in that way, projects like Smart Recovery represent kaikaku. It's a big change in the way that we work. We'd never have been able to revolutionise our use of estates and create clinical hubs and start agile working and make care pathways through lots of small changes. It was always going to be a big change. Now, radical change is one of those approaches the NHS tends to favour. It's certainly a bit more glamorous and exciting. You might get to open a new building and invite the great and the good to come and open it. You might start a new team or play with a new bit of technology. And Kaikaku is a way to get an improvement in processes, but it's not the only way. These projects do come and go, and normally only occur for a little bit of time, but it's vitally important we don't get so focused on the big projects that we forget to take out those little bits of waste every day. In the middle of a busy working day, it can be hard to think about making life easier for yourself in the future. You can spend all your time fighting fires, and it's hard to do those things that pay off long term. There's a real challenge to getting whole teams to manage to take the time out to make space for those little improvements. It means feeling that you can stop and take the time out to get the process right, so that you can see the benefits in the future. And the beauty of Kaizen is that it needn't be big, and it needn't be time consuming. Small changes can be effective, and any improvement is a step in the right direction.